because I'm involved in a project of the Architecture Action and it's a project of ecotourism enterprise development. And of course, I have a project, but because of that thing that responsible tourism, I find the possibility for linkages because for many years, ecotourism in the Philippines has been considered a virtuosity. And as a person until my involvement in this project, we didn't hear the word ecotourism in my mouth. Because I find that the Philippines has been doing so much in terms of correctly interpreting the term. But because of my involvement, we now have this advocacy in how we really put it on the right track. And so we developed this concept called eco-centric branding. We were talking about greenwashing. And so I just had a series of trainings conducted with self-reliant groups, with our farmers, marginalized sectors. These are beneficiaries of the grant that we provided from ADB. And we're teaching them ways by which they can really put their ecotourism projects on the right track, making sure that the 9 components in the definition as defined by the Department Administrative Order of Ecotourism is in place. And one of the enterprises, we were able to develop 7 enterprises under this project. One of them is about culinary. And so in fact, I was talking with Penelope just a month ago saying that we're really quite interested in linking the culinary enterprise with the principle of locavore because of we're also concerned about economic linkages in communities because time and time again the way that we are the Department of Tourism is developing tourism here is really a demonstration of how it should not be. Grossly, throwing money away and making decisions that are not really for the community or for the country. Like the Tourism Act, for example. If you look at the Tourism Act, it's really opening the doors for foreign investment. Not thinking about the impact on the local economy because the author is Dick Gordon and his mindset is towards making economic zones. Replicate the kind of concept of economic zones in many parts of the world, and opening up the doors for foreign investment. And I'm not too happy with that because of the economic linkages. Because there's so much in that law, all these tax holidays and all these incentives for foreign investment that would really kill small enterprises. So I'm into community-based ecotourism and I'm responsible tourism there. Apart from that, we're very much into value formation because I realize that even in consumption, in ethical consumption, it boils down to the value system of the community or Filipinos or group of people. Because I realize that when people don't value their environment, the environment that they live in, they always think that they're poor because their only interpretation of poverty is financial poverty, not really putting value in having a long life because they're eating vegetables all the time, unlike people in the city that are very dependent on food coming from factories with a lot of chemicals. So they think that just because they're not eating ham, that they're poor. So it's really a change with my mindset and values. So that's something that we're also trying to correct in terms of the paradigm of ecotourism in the country. We put it on the right track. So I'm very much interested in that linkage with the principle of locavore, culinary, in the enterprises that they're putting together.
I find that most tourism, they don't go back to the people. They don't, in fact, they destroy the community. Like Boracay, I think. That's an example.
We're introducing a new business model for ecotourism in the Philippines, and we created a brand, Ecotourism Philippines, out of the 22 sites under the project. But they have a long way to go because communities, it takes a while for them to really grasp this kind of concept because they're so exposed to commercialism, exposed to concept that they're poor just because they're in the rural areas and the lifestyle is different.
Yeah, I sometimes have a problem with that because it's almost always blaming the poor people. Like, oh, you have the wrong mindset, you're not adapting. Instead, it should be the other way around,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
I know.
You should go to the community, look at what the community has, what the community needs, and build around that, and build something that is, you know, not going to destroy them.
Right, right.
You know, it should serve them, and if there are people coming to the area, the money should go to them.
Yeah,
You
that's
go to
true.
all the resorts, poor people, it's again, rich people here, poor people keep out. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Body Central, Basket and Y are good close friends. They have this chain of happiness, right? This concept of value chain wherein coffee farmers get to roast. Yeah, kape buhay. We collaborated in that aspect because we also have a concept called chain of prosperity that we are trying to adapt to tourism development in the Philippines. Wherein you have empowered ecotourism, empowered community enterprises or entrepreneurs in island communities or rural communities that they have their own enterprises because we developed 7 types of enterprises. We have ecosystem-based enterprises, meaning farmers, for example, who till their land up in the mountains can be trek guides, or fisher folks in the coastal areas can be snorkeling guides, or people living in the river areas can be paddling guides, things like that. And then we have support enterprise in culinary arts and craft, and we have campsite development called Nature Village, you know, stuff. And we also have island spa, where we promote local herbs for, you know, massage and treatments and all that. So a chain of prosperity really creates a link, it's a reaction to the realization that there is a big gap between the rich entrepreneurs in the tourism industry. They have a lot of capital investments, you know, hotels and all that. They have all the money, but you have poor communities living in the destinations where you have the most outstanding landscape and seascapes. So that is their asset. That's their #1 capital. But they're not earning from that because nobody's consciously putting the skills and the
Yeah, and I really want to encourage people to look at it the other way around. You know, like it's always us, you know, imposing our thinking on them. Like we think we're superior to them. You know, like, oh, you know, we're the ones trying to solve their problems, but they're not part of the problem. They're not part of the process. You know, I think there's something wrong with that. You know, it's like, you know, if it's like the superpower coming here to the Philippines saying, you know, you should, and this is true, I'm not exaggerating. When the Americans came here, they said, fish and rice not good for you. Canned products good for you. Because they were trying to develop market. And they did this systematically through the educational system, through the mass media. And it's like, did we have any say in it? You know, that's the same thing. I think we should really examine also the processes by which we operate. You know, it's time to break our mindsets and look at it from their point of view. You know, people should go into the communities and immerse themselves. Find out, these people have dignity, these people are human beings, these people have survived for ages without money, you know. They are actually smarter than us. They are healthier than us in most ways because they're not eating the fast food, you know. We have much to learn. And that's why, to me, my community, again, one of the things I want to promote with Community Kitchen is the idea that, you know, it's an exchange of information. We have much to learn from them, and they have much to learn from us. So it's an equal collaboration, you know. So when we go there, we're humble. You know, you tell us, they know the land. They know those assets more than we do. And if we're going to develop it, it better be for their good. Or else we're just going to destroy them.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think there's something wrong model of tourism in the Philippines at the moment.
Exactly.
Wherein we think that we always need big hotels,
Yeah.
you know, 5-star hotels.
Exactly.
Where even the national government, the Department of Tourism, is not realizing that, you know, when you have big hotels in a rural area, it creates more poverty. Because I've seen that in some of the sites that I went.
They suck up all the
because
water, the
not only
the
that,
garbage
not
gets
only-
dumped on
Not
them.
only that, like in my project site in Cagayan, when I started the project in 2006, there were hardly any resorts. And then one resort started building, you know, Sun City. And the first thing that happened was price increase on basic commodities. So the people that were not hired became poorer because they were eating 3 times a day prior to that. And then afterwards, they were only eating twice a day. Why? Because they were not hired. They had the same amount of money in their pockets, but the prices increased.
And
So-
if they get hired, they're menial servants.
Exactly.
They're not
There's
going
no
to be trained
dignity.
for management, or
Exactly.
you know, they're not going to be groomed to be,
Yeah.
you know, to
And-
do more, to learn more.
And what's happening is that the resorts that started building would train their own guides, you know, buy their
And
own
import
boats.
the
And-
chefs and
and bring tourists to the island where the attractions are, where the community lives. And the community ends up as spectators. They're not part of the game. And so they become poorer.
So, you know, and when you bring tourists in there, they don't know anything about the country.
Exactly.
You know, and for me, if I'm a tourist, I'd like to learn about the culture and the people. That's what I'm there for. I don't want to enjoy something fake, you know, something manufactured that doesn't really exist in real life.
But one of the issues that we realized in the project is that even if we create, you know, viable ecotourism sites in the country, in the most stunning protected areas in the country, they have no link to the market. And you were talking about the Bayanihan market. I think it's a good match, really a good match, especially the fact that if you bring Bayanihan that used to live in that place or have relatives in that province, their heart is in that. You know, they would be willing to spend money to experience something that's really deep, that's life-changing, that has a lot of elements of culture and you know, environment, local knowledge. That's exactly the kind of products that we're creating for them, that we're having them create. And I think that would be a good match because we are in the process of really finding the market for this kind of product. We have 22 sites in 6 provinces, and you know, we don't have that much budget for promotions or coming up with, you know, very expensive brochures or going to trade fairs, but they do exist, and that would be a good
Yeah, but
thing.
I think sometimes, you know, this wrong mindset also develops wrong markets. You know, I think if you train people to look at culinary tourism differently, you will create good markets. Like for example, I'm working with some culinary, like some people, because if I'm trying to develop culinary tourism also, my own vision. You know, and what you have to do is you start with somebody who comes from the province, not somebody who's like, I know marketing, right? So somebody, I've been working with 2 or 3 people already. They come from, like for example, Quezon. I'm working with this woman, her name is Tina, right? And she comes from there, and she has been working, promoting Quezon for about 10 years already, right? And I prefer working with her because, and she customized tours for me. Because I said, I do not want any commercial establishment. I do not want to eat in restaurants. Because if I eat in restaurants, I don't need you. Okay? So I want to understand, I want to learn what grows in Quezon. I want to eat leaves, plants, fruits. So she ended up cooking food for us. And then, you know, and then we went through, you know, like, you know, because of that tour, you know, she discovered all kinds of leaves and practices that, you know, have not been revived. For example, the ritual of the Tagayan. You know, we want to revive that. Of course, we don't want to make alcoholics out of people, but it's such a romantic thing, right? You know, the drinking practices of the Lam. And then, like now, she said because of our interest in getting local ingredients from her, she's now going to, I said, make a business out of it because I want your dried calamias. I'll use it. You know, your local roots, you know, the galyang, you know, all the local leaves that they use for their local foods, you know, the sinaing and all that. So I said that that's what we should promote, you know, and I'll buy it, I said. So, and if you bring people around, you know, like if you bring like people like me from the United States, they're not going to want the kind of tours that are already in existence. In fact, I have a lot of food friends in the United States who are asking me to conduct food tours for them because they don't trust anybody else. Because they know I'll bring them to what local people do. They don't want fancy things. They want to know what real people in the provinces do. There is a market for that.
No, I think there is, but I think we have to work on at least 2 or 3 levels.
Oh yeah.
And kasi definitely there has to be a change of mindset, and that's basic.
Yeah.
You shift talaga na, you know, not coming from outside, but there's really local knowledge, and local sustainability that people actually have engaged in for generations and all that. So individual mindset that we can then help promote and support alternatives and all that, that actually elevate those values. I think all of that's okay. Pero we're going to bump into a ceiling if that's the only strategy.
Well, if that's your attitude, then you will bump into a ceiling.
No, because what gets
I don't believe
incentivized?
in ceiling.
Well,
If you put it there, you have a ceiling.
I don't either. I'm for kind of staring down ceilings so that people can flower. But there are ceilings because there are certain policies and practices that are in those communities that in fact only allow a certain level of development. Right? Why is that 5-star development kind of the thing that actually gets pushed rather than the development that is? So there are systems of incentives and disincentives based on policy, right? Based on what the government and the industry would want to support. That I think we also have to look at, right? And try to then see, paano natin mapapalitan o how can we change a little bit so that in fact these kinds of things has incentive to grow. The only way, that in fact that grows is because you're putting in your resources in that, right? So in fact, how can we proliferate that kind of strategy
People have
so
to
that
work in resources.
so that it's not
You
dependent?
can't like manufacture it out of nothing.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, pero we can't be reliant as a development of our communities in order to have a sustainable economy in the Philippines, where it can't be dependent on individuals kind of making this happen.
You
It has
just
to
said
be.
individual action.
No,
That's
this
your
is-
number one.
No. Individual action in order to change systems, right? In order to.
Individual action.
Amy, I hope you will listen. In order to change systems, because systems, in fact, are the things that actually define what is incentivized and what's not incentivized in the development of a local economy. And I think that's the kind of thing. I'm saying that we have to pursue both things, right? And as we make it popular, we have to pursue both things. I say, if not,
Others,
we're
what's
going
the
to
other
miss
one?
it.
Let me see.
Yung alternatives, those individual initiatives, right, based on people's initiatives.
What's the other one?
Yung isa is really kind of looking at policies like this law, right? Looking at policies that in fact help develop and incentivize the kind of projects that you want to develop so that it can become much more popular
But you
around.
just said the law is the law good?
I
It's
mean,
not,
they were
and
talking
that's
about-
why kind of.
Yeah, the TOT. I mean, in some ways, I want to open it up to the rest of the people who may have questions, but I think what we agree upon is that it's like we can't have tourism be somehow run by demand. You know, so but then how does the consumption movement fit into that? Because it's like if we only have, you know, if we're only creating products based on what we think people will buy, or based on some idea of a market that's already set. I mean, actually, you know, I didn't go on to the rest of my presentation, but I had a whole thing on tourism, because it's like for us, we've sort of thought about the value chain of tourism this way that it's like we know that, you know, people are sort of imagining the tourist, for example, as a foreign market rather than a local market. You know, and so it's like there are these things that need to change in every part of the value chain, and we need to extend the value chain. I mean, it's interesting because for us, like as TIGRA, we have this whole thing about the surplus profits made from tourism only go to create more tourism, which, well, like, what kind of development really is that? That's not going to work. You know, that, I mean, it's like you need to create surplus profits that actually support the local economy. Otherwise, it's like, what else are you doing, you know? I mean, tourism, I think, is a great avenue, but no, I mean, there are places in the world that are fully supported by tourism.
I mean, we're tourists.
Right.
When I go outside, I'm a tourist. When I go to Laguna, I'm a tourist.
Yeah. So, I guess it's just that other people talk to me a bit.
Yeah. Personally, my thinking is we are all doing these good things because we would like a community in the Philippines to grow within themselves, to grow by themselves, to grow together. So what we are thinking is how we can make this possible for the community. Tourism is in the list because we know that the Philippines is a good country, it's a nice country. So we would like other people, not specifically from abroad, but within our own country to realize that. My family went to Palawan because we know Palawan is a very nice place, and I want my own children to see the nicest things in Palawan, not just the river, the underground river, but to see what they eat in Palawan, like how they live in Palawan. We eat the exotic crocodile. So you see this kind of things. We want to experience the life of the people in that place. That's why we are introducing tourism, for example. And you're right, we want the people to recognize there are some local food, that we don't have to rely on the canned goods, etc. And that's what we would like our young people to realize. That's why we are not just talking about all of these things because of some other reasons, but because we really would like us, Filipinos, to realize one thing, that our country is beautiful, that it can offer a lot of things to us, for us, that we don't have to go outside of the Philippines just to live a better life, right? I think that is what tourism is all about. I mean, and other things like this kind of technology that we need right now. Solar lamp is very nice because it's very good because we don't have to use so much, to consume so much things from mining, etc. Just to generate electricity. So what we are talking now is a sustainable community, and we are looking at approaches on how we can make this as a sustainable community. Things that you are telling us is right. You know, people in the city now have forgotten to eat good food, nice food, because I have to go to office at 8 o'clock, and I have to stay in the office until 9 o'clock in the evening, so I don't have time to cook, etc. But that is what we want to restore, or to go back to what we have been before. But
And
it's
we did like
yeah,
that
but
before.
it's very complicated. That's why you are telling us all these things, and also we would like to learn how to do it again because we have really forgotten to do this again. So what we're just saying is all of these things that we are talking about right now is to really, make a sustainable community.
Even the concept of fast food, as probably what let's have compromises there, right? I don't think fast food is bad per se, because we need fast food to feed people. But the problem is, why does it have to be bad? It can be good if they don't put
Not much.
not that much.
Not much.
Nothing. No chemicals.
They don't
No,
say
it can be good. It's
Yeah.
just that people are greedy.
So there is a question
Here,
here.
well, actually, a friend of mine, and we were talking, and he was saying that, they have e-ducts. Okay, and then so we were computing his budget. And we were saying, if you just spend 100 pesos per meal, that's 300 pesos a day. Times 4, that's 1,200. Times 30, I think he was spending 30,000 pesos a month. So we're like, for fast food, for 100 peso meal. We were in shock. We couldn't talk to each other for a while because it was really like shocking, right? Anyway, okay. I think what we have to agree here is that I think what we're all agreeing on is that the government is a monolith. It's like it's unmovable. We cannot do anything. I mean, the corruption seems overwhelming, especially now after Yolanda, right? And I think what everybody's talking about is let's go down to the grassroots. Let's start in the community and work up. I think that's the thing. Let's not depend on government. Let's just do what we can. And I think that's and of course, if we think that way, start in the grassroots, start in the community, we will definitely involve the people in the community, right? No choice. They have to be part of the community.
Like community kitchens that can give fast food, right? But done well. Done well. I mean, then, instead of McDonald's there, if a local group of people could cook for the community and you get very cheap food, but done, monitored, it's clean, and it's using products from good farmers and
Proper
produce,
service
yes.
distributed
Then
within-
everybody goes back to the
Yes.
community.
And the 40,000 won't be such a big
say.
Hindi ko alam, pero ang may sense po ako na yung si Bas Umali po, taga local autonomous network po ako, meron po kami mga info shops. Yung info shops po, yun po yung mga community resource center sa Davao, sa Muntinlupa, sa Pasig. Ang maliliit na po yung operations na at nagpo-promote ng mga alternatives. Ang sense po personally sa tourism, parang may reinforce ng privilege dun sa mga mayayaman at saka din sa wala. So, yun ang natural na nagiging behavior din ng mga tao. Pag may darating ng mga puti, alam nila na pagkakakitaan nila, kaya mag-serve sila ng service. So, hindi dun sa paniniwala ko na dapat yung daigdig ay
Exactly.
walang border at walang
Exactly.
boundary. At sinishare ito ng mga tao kahit nga ng buhay. Yun lang ang nagiging problema ko. Pag tourism ang pinasok natin bilang industriya, talagang ang relasyon diyan ay merong privilege sa underprivilege. Doon ko lang ako. Hindi ko lang kung paano matotroubleshoot o paano malilinawan yun kung makakuha ng pag-value chain sa tourism. Pero another thing, yung alternatives po dun sa local, particularly yung solar po kasi yung pinopromote namin. Kasi ang tingin namin, talagang misinform yung public sa solar. Talagang tamang-tama yung mga binanggit niyo, sir kanina. Talagang yun ang eksaktong nangyayari. Kaya lang, pag kausap na yung community, particularly sa Muntinlupa, kasi natin yung info shop namin na mayroong 150 solar watts panel, na mayroong 10 watts na solar charger, at 500 watts na inverter, at 2 units ng battery na 12 volts 50 amperes. Nakakapagpatakbo siya ng sala, ng info shop, ng kitchen, nakakapagpatakbo siya ng bathroom, na LED, yung ginagamit namin, ang pinakamataas na 9 watts. So, hindi namin ito masyadong pinopromote sa community, pero makita ng mga tao na okay ito, viable ito. Pwede ito sa aming pang-araw-araw na buhay. Ang ginagastos namin normally sa pang-araw-araw na gastusin, nag-allocate kami ng 10 to 20 pesos para sa kuryente. Kasi hanggang sa 1,500 to 2,000 na namin. Kasi sasabihin nila, mahal daw kasi halimbawa sa 60 watts na solar panel, maaaring gumastos ka siguro ng 10,000 pesos o kaya pag 150 watts, maaaring gumastos ka ng hanggang 10,000 pesos o 15,000 pesos. Ang sasabihin nila mahal. Pero pag may loan sila, bibili sila ng Bravia na Sony na 25,000 pesos para madagdag sa konsumo ng kuryente nila.
So, ganun po ba, sir? Kaya po ba yun, halimbawa, isang lugar, 10 pamilya, kaya ba na sustutan? Sustain yung isang pamilya sa isang lugar, kaya ba yun?
Depende po sa paggagamitan. Kung ano po yung mga equipment at
susugan ko yung ano. Una-una binanggit mo yung inverter. Pag umabot ka ng 5 taon yung inverter mo bibili, papalitan mo yung mahal yun. Okay. Tapos, kung hindi kayo gumagamit ng TV, kung 12 volts na gagamitin mo na ilaw, electric mo 12 volts, laptop gagamitin mo pera sa 12 volts, iPad pen sa 12 volts. Huwag kang gumamit ng inverter, diretso, 12 volts. Yun ang mga sistema ng mga simple. Okay. Kasi yung inverter, problema yun. Pero yung battery control unit, that's very important. Pero yung inverter kasi, mahal yun. Okay, pag nasira. Tapos yung battery mo, meron yan tayong natawag mga social preparation. Bibigay ko sa iyo mamaya yung email ko, tutulungan ko kayo. So tingin ko hindi kayo makakabayad ng tulianes.
Salamat po.
Isa pang tanong, kasi kayo talagang bawat pamilya po, average, nagbabayad ng 3,000 pesos a month pero sa kuryente. So kung yung sinasabi nyo ay talagang bababa yung cost ng pamilya, hindi natin
Actually, efficiency muna. Bago tayo pumunta sa renewable, efficiency muna. Kasi pag naging efficiency ka, makakatipid ka. Pag nakatipid ka, then doon ka makaisip ka. Meron kang extra pera, 3,000, naging 1,005. So sabihin mo, may pera ka ngayon, bibili ng gadget. Kasi pag sinimulan mo doon, tapos wala akong investment yan. Diba? So, ang problema dyan, maraming problem dyan eh. Pero sa ground natin pag-uusapan.
Sustainable na ba siya?
Pagdating sa renewable energy, napakahirap pag-usapan niya kasi malaki investment. Papasukan ko na lang what's in it for you, what's in it for everybody. For example, the local development of tourism. May pera, kumikita ang tourism, ang mga hotels. Okay? Ngayon, bakit nila ibabalik sa community? Ibabalik lang nila sa community kung marunong kayo mag-share ng cultural dance, as kung i-hire nila kayo once in a while, or kakanta kayo sa kasal or something. Pwede. Pero kung gusto natin ng sustainable tourism na dire-diretso yung ating pagkakakitaan, meron what's in it for them. For example, resort ako, or I have a restaurant just like Ami. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na food waste. If we close the loop, the cycle, food waste, ano ginagawa sa food waste? Kinukuha ng truck. Diba? Kasi tinatapon ko sa lugar din natin alam hanggang sa bumaho. Pero yung food waste, if you handle it properly, yung food waste mo, yan ang iyong fertilizer. Kapag meron ka ng fertilizer, ang pagtatanimin mo, hindi yung mayayaman. Ang magtatanim yan yung mahihirap. Hindi lahat na nakatambay doon. Just like in Boracay, bumabaho sila. They have a lot of food waste. Okay? Mali yung ginagawa nila, dinadala nila sa Aklan. And they're spending a lot of money kasi meron silang special bars kumukuha nun. Kasi dinadala nun. That is wrong. Bakit? Shortcut yun. What if yung food waste na ang pag-usapan natin kasi Solid Waste Management Program, yan yung DNR, Republic Act 9003, everybody knows. Pag-iwahay, yung basura, segregation, blah, blah, blah. Pagdating ng truck, pagsasamahin. Ano ko nga, hindi na rin yung ganyan. Pagdating ng truck, halo-halo. There was a time with DNR, meron akong sinitan ng basurero, pinagsama nila ng gano'n, tapos kinekasyon nila, ba't ako nakikialam sa basurero? Sabi ko, pinag-iwahay nila, tapos pinag-halo ng basurero, DNR kayo, dapat kayo mismo magsabi, mali yan. Diba? You have to have separate tracks, kaya ibang schedule. But anyway, local development. Di ba kailangan nila ng gulay? Ba't sila bibili sa Manila? O sa Palengke? Di bumili sila doon sa binigyan mo ng compost. Yeah, we have coffee. Very good yan sa vermiculture. Diba? Bulate, we can produce fertilizer. Ano ginagawa nila? Tinatapon nila doon, tapos bumubaho. Kaya bumubaho yan, hindi yun handled properly. Pero if we're going to talk about sustainable consumption and production, meron kang food waste. Mind you, the next 2 years, everybody's going to be talking about food waste. Okay? Tell you, pinag-uusapan na namin sa EU. Food waste is going to be one of the topics. Kasi resource yan. Okay? Hindi yan babaho, gagawin mo yung fertilizer, tapos yung mga tao na sa paligid ng hotel, those people living around the island, will be the ones going to utilize that to plant food. And then they can feed their family, okay? They can feed their family at the same time they can supply, you know, in the resort because it's a local consumption thing, it's a local horse project, right? So they need something and people need something, everybody will make money. One example is the Lubbock River Cruise, nasira lang ngayon because of the lindol. Remember there got about 8 boats. Sino nakasakay na doon yung boat? nagigitara sila, tapos kanta, and then you eat about 300 pesos or something like that, di ba? Per meal, kasama na yung trip. We're supposed to have a solar-powered boat. Kaya lang, it's very expensive as of now. Kasi ang problem daw, yung nagtutulak maingay. Yung nagkakanta, minsan kung nandito yung hangin, you can hear the engine. So it's not good. So with the solar-powered boat, it's electricity powered, you don't hear anything. If you have a glass bottom, this is something that you will use in the ecotourism industry because it's silent. Di ba? Pero ano nangyari sa atin? Blub, 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 tas may usok. We have a lot of pollution and you will see there's a lot, because there's a lot of boat in the Lubok River, you go out, you can see there's brown water and there's some rainbow. There are used oil everywhere.
Ang galing niya sa Indonesia, sir. Galing ako sa Indonesia. Ang haba ng river nila, 3 hours by speedboat.
Can we just,
Gusto ko lang kunin yung opportunity kasi nandito si Sir Eric. Kasi ang isa sa target namin sa mobile analytics school, parang meron kami tinatarget na project na yung solar seat setup ay i-provide namin sa isang pamilya bilang experiment. Kasi sa may 150 solar watts, nag-experiment kami, nakapagpatakbo kami tumatakbo during daytime, tumatakbo yung monitor, 40 watts na ventilator. At sa isang pagkakataon, pinatakbo namin yung 300 watts na washing machine. Tumakbo siya ng 3 hours. So, nasa process kami ng experiment. Pero, ang tingin namin, viable ito at katanggap-tanggap ito sa isang pamilya. At tingin namin, pag nakita ng pamilya na economically may advantage sila rito at hindi pa sila dependent sa Meralco, kahit sumabog yung Meralco, may ilaw sila. Tingin ko mas pagyayamanin nila at baka yung kanilang savings ay mag-invest sila dun sa solar kasi strategic yung kanyang interest. So yun ang gusto sanang pasukin ng mobile analytics school. Okay kay Sir Eric. Pwede kaming
I just went to,
We'll talk about it.
can we maybe just eat and continue the conversation if people want to, but it's getting sort of late and I know some people are wanting to go. Yeah,
We can have some snack while we're talking.
so just, we can continue the conversation. I think there's a lot that people want to say, but we also have food over here, so you can